Good news to everyone that is watching and listening in right about now. It is not a mistake that you have clicked on this video, and it's not a coincidence that you are watching me right about now. I have good news, and the gospel is good news actually. It is the news, that good news of Jesus Christ of Nazareth. And I'm telling you that God always has a way of coming through for you. He always has a way of providing. The Bible says, Jesus asked his disciples, when I sent you out without a wallet or purse, did you lack anything? They responded to him by saying, nothing. He then tells you that when God has sent you, even when others are struggling in life, even when it seems like all odds are against you, you will lack nothing. For God will always find a way. He will always make a way. He makes a way where there seems to be no way. Even in the wilderness, He will provide for you everything that you need. And God will send you destiny helpers. So don't you worry about that. Today's word is from the book of 2 Kings chapter 4, verse 1 to 7. That is right. 2 Kings chapter 4, verse 1 to 7. It reads, a certain woman of the wives of the sons of the prophets cried out to Elisha, saying, your servant, my husband, is dead, and you know that your servant fear the Lord, and the creditor is coming to take my 2 sons to be his slaves. So Elisha said to her, what shall I do for you? Tell me, what do you have in your house or in the house? And she said, your maidservant has nothing in the house but a jar of oil. Then he said, go borrow vessels from everywhere, from all your neighbors, empty vessels. Do not gather just a few, and when you have come in, you shall shut the door behind you and your sons. Then pour it into all these vessels and set aside the full ones. So she went from him and shut the door behind her and her sons, who brought the vessels to her, and she poured it out. Verse 6, now it came to pass, when the vessels were full, that she said to her son, bring me another vessel. And he said to her, there is not another vessel. So the oil ceased. Then she came and told the man of God, and he said, go sell the oil and pay your debt, and you and your sons live on the rest. My God. This was a woman in need. Oh yes, she was in need. She had lost almost everything. She had lost her husband. Her husband had died. The breadwinner had died. Now she was in need. And the Bible says the creditor was coming to take her 2 sons to be slaves. Remember, in those days, if someone had a debt to pay and could not actually pay that debt, if you had children, sons, the creditor would take those children to be slaves. That's how slaves were created. That's how some people found themselves into slavery, because of their parents. So sad. A kid born in slavery because of what her family did. Now listen to what the Bible says. She said to Elisha about her situation. And Elisha said to her, what shall I do for you? Tell me, what do you have in your house? There is a reason as to why Elisha was asking for what the woman had. It then tells that even the ones that think do not have something. You may think you have nothing, but there's something that God can use. You see, God will use what you have. God uses what you have to bless you. Those that have, more will be added to them. I'll give you the story of Moses. Moses comes to a point where in front of him is the sea. Behind him is Pharaoh and his army. Moses cries out to God, and God says to Moses, "Why do you cry out to me? Get the rod in your hand, place it onto the sea, and the sea will part." That is what Moses used. He had a rod in his hand. At times that rod would turn into a snake, a serpent. But at this time, this rod was used to part the Red Sea. God will use what you have. Look around and see what you have. And that is what God is going to use. That is what God is going to use to bless you. The woman said, "Your maidservant has nothing in the house but a jar of oil." But even a jar of oil is something. In her mind, she confessed that she had nothing. But again, she was revealing a detail that she has a jar of oil. The prophet said, "Go and borrow vessels from everywhere." This was a prophetic instruction. Go and borrow vessels from everywhere, from your neighbors. Empty vessels. Do not just gather a few. And when you have done so, shut the door behind you. So that's what she did. To cut the long story short, is that she was commanded to pour that little oil in those empty vessels. As she poured in the first vessel, it filled up. She poured in the second vessel, it was filled up until the last vessel. Notice that it was according to her faith. If she had borrowed 50 vessels, 50 vessels were to be filled up. Do you know that this woman would have walked out as a billionaire? If she had borrowed so many vessels, she would live a life. She would be rich. If she borrowed 100 vessels, 100 vessels were filled up. The Bible says when all the vessels were full, or when all the vessels were done, the oil stopped. Paraphrasing. So God works according to your faith. Faith pleases God. Brothers and sisters, this whole story is about faith. Have faith in God. Hope this word has blessed you. Shalom.